next news. Breaking news from the White House.
Right now, the real story is not Spencer Pratt. It's not one California race. It's that President Trump and his administration may have just found the public example election integrity advocates have wanted for years. A race so messy, so delayed, and so easy for ordinary Americans to understand that the argument's no longer buried in legal memos and election manuals. It's visual, it's personal, it's simple. Ballots, barcodes, signatures, citizenship, delayed counting, and suddenly the entire country can see what confidence collapse looks like. The question now is, did California just become the case study that powers national election reform? See, here's why this matters. See, for years, the left and the media tried to dismiss election integrity concerns as fringe, complicated, or too technical for the public to follow. But the Trump administration is changing that by turning verification into common sense. First came President Trump's executive order directing federal agencies to help states identify who is actually eligible to vote. Then came DHS approval for states to verify citizenship through federal databases. Then came USPS coordination to track absentee and mail ballot activity for unusual patterns. And now, according to reports and the Postal Service proposal itself, states that want to use USPS for ballots may have to provide full mail-in and absentee participation lists along with ballot barcodes or risk losing delivery support altogether. That's a huge America First answer to a problem millions of voters have been screaming about for years. The fight's no longer just about proving fraud in court. The fight is about restoring confidence before the next ballot is ever even sent. And if there's one lesson here, that the people who act early usually protect themselves first. See, that's true in elections, and it's also true in investing. If you could go back in time and buy oil before the world relied on it, would you? Of course you would. Anyone would. So why aren't you buying silver right now? The people who recognized oil early didn't just make money, they got ahead of one of the biggest economic shifts in history, and today a similar opportunity is unfolding with silver. Silver is more than a precious metal. It is a critical resource used in solar panels, electric vehicles, defense systems, AI infrastructure, and the massive technology build-out happening right now, and that's why I want you to check out Noble Gold Investments. Go to nextnewsgold.com and learn how qualifying accounts can receive a 1/10 ounce gold coin, or you can call the number 877-646-5347. Now, back to the story, because what's happening with election confidence may be just as foundational. See, here's the twist the corporate press still does not want to admit. The most powerful argument here is not even we proved every bad ballot. It's that millions of Americans no longer trust a process that looks inconsistent, delayed, and selectively enforced. And that's where California suddenly becomes useful to reformers. When voters hear that signatures can reject one ballot, but signature standards are politically fought over the next minute, they don't need a law degree to understand the problem. That's why the story is getting hotter, and that's why the tweets you're about to see matter. USPA flipping the script on mail-in voting, which comes straight from Trump's March executive order to secure elections. States must hand over their full mail-in absentee voter list plus every ballot's personalized barcode or risk the USPS stopping mail delivery entirely.
No mail-in ballots. You see that's what's happening in California. They're rigging the election.
The Postal Service proposed a new rule pushing states to turn over their mail-in and absentee voter rolls to the agency. The agency's proposed rule would create a mail-in and absentee participation list. The state would first submit to the USPS a list of voters who are submitting mail-in ballots for that election, along with each voter's corresponding personalized barcode on their ballots. Then, the USPS would return a final mail-in and absentee participation list to each state's chief election official to finalize the names of all enrolled voters in the state and the barcodes associated with their ballots. The move is in line with President Donald Trump's March executive order tightening regulations on mail-in voting in federal elections. Voters who receive mail-in or absentee ballots must be included on the final mail-in and absentee participation list, marking a significant change in the rules and regulations for mail-in and absentee voting. The USPS issued the proposed rule on May 29th, one day after Trump-nominated District Judge Carl J. Nichols in the District of Columbia denied Democrats' injunction request against the mail-in voting executive order.
So, the USPS rule is the pressure point, hand over the voter lists and ballot barcodes, or the mail pipeline gets shut off. Now Fox is reporting DHS adding federal citizenship checks and tracking ballot traffic and fraud patterns. DHS has approved a plan allowing states to verify voter citizenship through federal databases while also monitoring mail-in ballot activity for potential signs of fraud, advancing a central pillar of President Trump's election integrity agenda. The initiative, expected to launch later this month, would give election officials access to federal citizenship records and allow voter rolls to be checked against immigration and government databases. DHS also plans to work with USPS to track absentee and mail ballot flows, flag unusual patterns, and generate investigative leads. The move advances a major piece of Trump's election integrity agenda. So it's not just the Postal Service, DHS moving too, tying voter rolls to federal databases. Next, the White House lays out Trump's order in plain English: verify who's eligible and make sure ballots go to lawful voters. This is the moment where President Trump signed the executive order to deal with a number of issues on election integrity.
Mr. President, as you said, you have in front of you an executive order that deals with a number of issues relating to election integrity. As you've consistently identified, two of the biggest problems we have with election integrity in this country are, one, inaccurate voter rolls that allow ineligible people to vote in various federal and state elections all over the country. And then secondarily, you've consistently identified that vote by mail in this country has become rife with fraud. People returning ballots who aren't eligible to return ballots, ballots being sent to people who aren't confirmed to be eligible voters. So what this executive order is going to do is, one, we're going to take federal data. We're going to ensure that each state's election officials are provided with a comprehensive view of who the eligible voters in their jurisdiction actually are, allowing them to properly verify that everybody voting in their elections is legally able to vote. And then it orders the Postmaster General, the U.S. Postal Service, to take bold new measures to verify that ballots both being sent to people are being sent to people who are eligible to vote, and then that ballots being returned are being properly returned by eligible voters only. And we believe that combined, the measures in this executive order will help secure elections in the future and ensure that the many abuses of our election system in the past aren't repeated in future elections.
Right.
Yeah, let's go. So that's the blueprint from the Oval. Now Trump puts his name on it, says the only thing standing in the way is the usual army of rogue judges.
So with all of that, I'm very happy to be signing the voter integrity, and I think it's going to be really great. So if you don't mind, I will take some time, and I'll make this signature absolutely perfect. So it looks very good. So far, so good. Okay, so that's a big deal. Very proud of it. And I don't know how it can be challenged. You'll probably challenge it. You may say, find a rogue judge. You get a lot of rogue judges. Very bad people, very bad judges. But that's the only way that can be changed. And hopefully we'll win an appeal if it is. But I don't see how anybody can challenge it. I don't see how they can challenge it. And remember, it's about voter integrity. We want to have honest voting in our country, because if you don't have honest voting, you can't have really a nation, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, that is the truth. So the signature was the trigger, but the details matter. Howard Lutnick steps in to explain the enforcement piece. One USPS barcode, one envelope, one vote. Come on.
So the fundamentals of our democracy are built on voter integrity, right? We all need it. You've said it time and time again. It's a total agreement amongst everybody. So here's the idea. The states, right, run these elections. They will, if they want to use the U.S. mail, the U.S. Postal Service, they're going to get a code, a barcode from the U.S. Postal Service, and they're going to put that on the envelope, and we will have one envelope per vote. None of this time where we have no idea, there's no observers to mail, there's no envelopes, there's no certainty. That's all going to go away, and what the president is doing today is he's going to make sure that mail-in ballots are safe, secure, and accurate, and will have a clear distinction. If you voted by mail, you will have it on the envelope. Obviously not on the ballot, but on the envelope. So we will know 1 million mail-in ballots. There'll be 1 million envelopes, and you'll be able to know exactly, correctly, that citizens voted.
I'll take that. So there's the mechanics: track every mail ballot, kill the chaos Democrats have hidden behind for years. Next, the conversation turns to why the MAGA base never let go of 2020, with fresh focus on Zuckerberg money and county election officials. Here it is, how a secret group of people were able to overthrow the United States government on November 3rd, 2020, financed by Mark Zuckerberg.
I want to ask about if you've changed position on what happened in the 2020 election.
Oh, I think it was rigged.
You think it was rigged?
Yeah, I know more now than I did then. All you have to do is in February of 2021, there was a Time magazine article that was published, and it was about Mark Zuckerberg investing $500 million in a Get Out the Democrat Vote campaign. And they focused on the swing states, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and they focused, and what they did is they basically did what I would refer to as agency capture, and they went in and they captured the county clerks and the secretaries of states in these states, and they basically said, we have a Get Out the Vote campaign program, and if you will implement it exactly the way that we say that you must implement it, we will give you massive amounts of money to run your elections. Mm-hmm. But if you do not run it the way that we say, then we can claw all that money back. Well, think about it. If you're a small county in Wisconsin and you get $300,000 from Mark Zuckerberg's foundation to make sure that there are drop boxes in your Democrat heavy areas, that that you've got an RV going around and hauling people into the polling places to vote. When you do that, if you do not carry out, you take that money, you sign that contract, and you do not do exactly what that foundation said, you were going to have to use public money to pay it back, you most likely would have ended up in prison. I mean, that's just one example of the way that the election was rigged. The Mark Zuckerberg money was huge. $500 million concentrated in Democrat counties for the purpose of getting out the Democrat vote.
How do you know it was to get the Democrat vote out? Because how does it exactly do? What are the mechanics of that, of how it functioned?
You just have to read the article. Okay. And what the article does is it lays it out, and the title is something along the lines of how a secret group of people were able to save the 2020 election, meaning how were they able to get Joe Biden elected.
Mm-hmm. I remember when that came out. So it is out the playbook. Private cash, captured election offices, and mail ballots nobody seemed to audit. Now Trump brings it back to the president, saying U.S. attorneys are already digging into California's late counting mess. Trump announcing U.S. attorneys are investigating California's election fraud, cheating, and late mail-in counting.
The shaft. And he did, Spencer Pratt, he did really pretty damn well. And they threw him out. And it was happening to Steve Hilton, and I went on a tear. And they said it was going to be 2 weeks, and they'll know about Hilton, whether or not he's going to make it. I went on such a tear that they approved it immediately. They approved Steve. It's such a rigged deal. It's so crazy. They approved him so fast because everybody was watching. And he was leading, and it was leading by a lot, and you saw his lead was dissipating rapidly. They were taking it away from him just like they took it away from the kid. And I went on a tear. And by the way, we have the U.S. attorneys looking at it. And the 2 weeks said all of a sudden, we have a surprise. Steve Hilton won. And he did win. But they were going to take it away shortly. They were going to take it away over a 2 week period. You know, they announced that they wouldn't have the results for a week to 2 weeks. All of a sudden, they approved Steve Hilton.
But Iran.
It's a rigged election.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's get back to
I
Iran.
shouldn't have brought that up. But how do you feel about Iran?
But let's get back. Get back. I just want to say to the.
So Trump says California got caught because this time people are watching and federal investigators are now on it. Even CNN has to admit the crackdown's real, with USPS threatening to stop handing ballots for states that refuse to hand over voter rolls. Jake Tapper posting, Postal Service won't deliver mail ballots for states that don't hand over voter lists under plan for Trump directive. So that's the panic point for the left, the same mail system they relied on now demands accountability. And in California, voters say abuse is already showing up in black and white rejection letters tied to disputed signatures. Donnie Cope says tens of thousands of Spencer Pratt voters are now receiving rejection letters from the county clerk saying their ballots were not counted due to signature irregularities. Yet Governor Gavin Newsom just passed legislation that will make it illegal for anyone conducting oversight to contest signatures that they deem fraudulent. Democrats allow ballots to be signed with an X, an A minus, or a smiley face to pass and count, but all of a sudden only Republican signatures are being flagged for irregularities, rejected and not counted. One of these California Republican voters said that his signature has been on file for over 20 years, never been an issue until he voted for Spencer Pratt. Nithya Raman has beaten Spencer Pratt by less than 3,000 votes. There are at least 18,000 Pratt voters who received this letter saying their votes were rejected. So take a closer look. This is what is being sent out to people. Signature verification, return options, attention, voter action required. So the ballot cure notices are exactly why conservatives say the system gets weaponized when Republicans start winning. Next, we go back to the Trump order itself. New USPS standards for approved envelopes, barcodes, and a federal ballot mail portal. USPS has proposed new regulations for mail-in ballots under President Trump's Executive Order 14399, requiring USPS-approved envelopes with election mail logo and intelligent mail barcodes on outbound and return envelopes, along with submission of ballot mailing and participation data through federal ballot mail portal to track and associate ballot mailings with official election records. So the tracking system, the barcodes, the data trail, Trump wants it all locked in. Now he says ties it all together with the Save America Act, photo ID, proof of citizenship, and major limits on mail-in voting.
We put in today, as you know, about Save America, the Save America Act. I don't know, someday the Senate and the House will get it done, although I must tell you the House has approved it about 3 times already. Save America Act right here. We have, everybody can see that. And then we'll talk about clean, beautiful coal. You're not allowed to say coal within the Trump administration unless it's preceded by the words clean, beautiful. Complicates our life, but it's good, right, Chris, wherever you may be? It is clean and beautiful. I'll tell you, it's effective. So the Save America Act is all voters must show photo ID. So you go to vote and you show photo ID. Not complicated, right? You know, who could oppose it? They say it's an 80-20. It's not. It's about 99-1, and we'll never find the one person. Andy, congratulations, Andy, on a big victory.
Thank you for your help.
That's a great. I appreciate it, but you're very good at what you do, and I've been backing you right from the beginning for a long time, right?
Backing you too, sir.
For years, that's right. You have. Thank you. Congratulations. You won a big election. So you have all voters must show photo ID, identification. All voters must show a little thing called proof of citizenship. Would you say that's 99-1, Mr. Pennsylvania?
I would say that's maybe 100 to 0.
I would think so. They say
at least it should be.
No, but they say it's 80-20. It's not 80-20. It's 99. And we've never found the one person. There's another one. Then you have no mail-in ballots, but we want to be liberal, as they say, or we'll say we want to be progressive. So it's no mail-in ballots. You see that's what's happening in California. They're rigging the election. Now, maybe we caught them, and maybe they won't be able to get away with it. They tried with me. They did it successfully the second time. The third time, we made it too big to rig. Too many votes. They couldn't do it. They can only go. They sort of gave up at about 9:07 when they got slaughtered with the votes that came in. But no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. So we're being very progressive, and we just don't want cheating.
We just don't want cheating in our elections. Can we just all agree on that? So what does it really mean? It means that the Trump administration is moving the election fight out of abstract debate and into systems that can actually verify things. Citizenship databases, USPS barcodes, ballot flow monitoring, one envelope per vote, clean voter rolls. See, that's not radical. That's called running an honest country. When you pair those reforms with what voters are seeing in California, delayed counting, rejection letters, signature disputes, and public suspicion, election integrity advocates believe they finally have a clear, emotional, real-world example the average American can grasp in seconds. That's why the Save America Act keeps surfacing as the destination. California is not the whole story, it's the demonstration. And President Trump is turning that demonstration into a national reform agenda. So the bottom line, this is bigger than one race or a country or a candidate. The Trump administration is building a simple message the American people can understand immediately. If banks verify identity, if airports verify identity, if federal benefits require verification, then voting in the United States of America should absolutely require verification too. Democrats are panicking because the old playbook depends on confusion, delay, and blind trust in broken systems. President Trump is doing the opposite. He's demanding records, tracking, citizenship checks, and accountability. That is how you rebuild faith in elections. And once the public sees a visible example like California, the argument stops being theoretical. It becomes undeniable common sense. If you agree that every legal vote should count and only legal votes should count, share this video, subscribe, and comment below. Yes or no, should states be required to verify citizenship and use trackable mail ballot systems before any federal election? Let's have a conversation and let's stay connected. Thousands of patriots before you have already texted the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. That is the secret number we set up to do away with the missed notifications that never arrive from YouTube. One text message a night direct from me to you so you stay in the loop. You get the inside scoop when the notifications and the algorithm decide otherwise. And let's celebrate America 250, shall we? So much to celebrate as our great republic turns 250 years old. Check out the merch shelf below this video or shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.